All right, eventually, let's say, finally, the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, eventually spoke, but a lot of people said he took a neutral position. And how timely is that for you, coming about or barely 2 weeks after the inauguration of the Amotekun initiative?
I would again say this so that there would be. Yes, I will say this so that there will be no misconception. The Yoruba Summit Group is the umbrella body for all Yoruba groups, including accredited OPC, Voice of Reason, Yoruba Council of Elders, and the LGBT Forum, you can go on and on. And our collective resolve is very, very important at this point because we speak for the Yoruba. And in speaking to the Yoruba, I will venture to speak categorically that the APC chieftain, Chief Bola Tinubu, did not do justice to the Amotekun security network, and neither has he said anything to help the Yoruba cause at this present time when we are talking about the existential threat to the lives and property of all Yorubas. When President Jonathan was there, Chief Tinubu was like an Amotekun, was like a ferocious cat, constantly needling on those issues that were germane and important and pivotal to security and otherwise. But today is a docile cat, genuflecting to those who are in power, and that is not exactly the element of the Omoluabi ethos of the Yoruba in the way we come out to call a state and to give a name to those who have decided that they want to upset our peace. This is not the time to genuflect. This is not the time to pander. This is not the time to prevaricate to evil. There is so much evil in the land. We have insecurity. We have women who cannot go to the farm, who are butchered. We have people who have lost the means of livelihood. We have children who have been made fatherless and motherless. We have children who have been butchered. And then it is not going to just happen that we should roll over and die because of some kind of political arrangement that will make it difficult for people to say the truth. The truth is, Amotekun is too little, even too late. It is important that we go back to when Bola Tinubu was governor. He took the federal government to court 31 times on the issue of true federalism. He was the activist for state police. What exactly is he trying to tell Nigerians? What exactly is he trying to tell the Yoruba? Does he think the Yorubas are stupid? That it cannot go back to what he was doing? And today he's trying to play politics with the lives and property of Yoruba people?
But
by making it look like
Mr. Adejumo,
like,
Mr. Adejumo,
Amotekun is something that should not give big problem to Nigeria. Amotekun is a necessity. It's a kind of necessity.
Mr. Adejumo, let me come in here. You have given...
If we take this, it's only because it is the only thing that we have. Nobody should play politics with it.
Okay, Mr. Adejumo, let me come in here. Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC national leader, has said, look, he needed not to have jumped into the fray immediately. The comments started flying right, left, and center. He needed to look at what was happening, appraise it before he came out with what he said on Wednesday. Is that not being statesmanly, trying to resolve issues?
No. You don't have, as a father, you do not come back from wherever you have gone to fend for your children to find your house on fire with the fire raging and the fire uncontrollable, such that it will even injure your children, and then you will now say that you want to take time to assess the situation. There are certain things that call for pragmatic, immediate, sustainable effort to sure that you do not leave things for anyone to come and say, oh, you're waiting for too long. It's not helpful. Everybody has criticized him. The governors have come out to speak. Governor Tinubu spoke unambiguously. The governor of Ekiti, Fayemi, spoke immediately. The governor of Oyo spoke immediately. We are not going to just wait for someone, in which case, does it even determine what we do? Does it determine our life? Does it determine our trajectory? Does it determine our DNA and taxonomy? These people are even asking you to talk. It is because they think, oh, okay, let's give him some kind of opportunity so that he can perhaps come back home. It is not so much about him to make it look like he has to wait to determine what he has to say. It is pragmatism that we need. If it's not going to be there at this time of our need, well, that will be there. The sky cannot be vacuum. You cannot tell us to wait. Oh, let the fire burn down, and then I'll determine what the remedy will be.
Okay, Mr. Adejuma, let's come back to the studio. Let's ask Barrister Okengwa his views on the whole issue. Good morning. Welcome once again.
Morning, my brother. Yes, man, I've listened to the secretary of the Yoruba Summit Group, and he claims to be, his organization claims to be the umbrella body for the entire Yoruba socio-cultural associations. But I'm a bit disappointed at his tantrums, or the tantrums thrown on the APC leader for expressing his personal opinion. The APC leader is one of those that have fought for the Yoruba cause, as he has aptly put it, since the 90s, as a senator in 1991, 1992, 93, and a governor in Lagos State. And he has contributed more than any other Yoruba man to the advancement of the Yoruba cause.
Where do you leave Obafemi Awolowo?
Yes. Obafemi Awolowo was the father of modern Yoruba democracy, let me put it that way. The Yoruba state, Yoruba nation. But after Obafemi Awolowo, Awolowo was like a father to Tinubu, of course. He was a father to Tinubu and a father to the gentleman who just spoke. I seem to disagree with the way he reacted. He's reacting as if a cultural association ought to be an unbiased umpire for all shades of opinion. The APC national leader has not hidden the fact that he's in APC, but the young man has not told us whether he's in PDP. Because the truth is that the expressions that the man does not own the DNA of the Yorubas is to me very unnecessary. All right,
you have rightly said that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu fought the cause of the Yoruba people, but yes, a lot of Nigerians would like to differ with you on that, because they would say it's true he fought the cause of the Yoruba people, but yes, sometimes after fighting a cause, sometimes some leaders watch it crumble, and perhaps that is the more reason this Yoruba Summit Group and other stakeholders like the Afenifere are kicking against at this point in time.
No, I really do not understand the initiative, the Amatekon initiative. It's not an Afenifere initiative. It's an initiative by the Yoruba governors.
An initiative by the Yoruba governors. Just a minute. An initiative of the Yoruba governors, yes, born out of the concerns and the cries of the Yoruba people, isn't it?
My brother, my sister, it is not just the Yoruba people that are crying on the issue of security in this country. I come from Kosiba State. I come from a state where we have similar problems, if not worse. The problem is that when it happens in certain areas, the publicity is, tends to be beamed on them. Where I come from, between 2018 and 2019, more than 500 people were killed in my local government. I don't think the AIT covered that. The truth about it is that there are security concerns all over the place. And if a leader comes out to say, please, he has not condemned the initiative of the Yoruba governors. He is saying that those who are opposed to what the governors have done should do it in a manner that will justify the positions they are holding. Like the Attorney General, he is not a court. He is not the Chief Justice of the Federation. Even the Chief Justice cannot pronounce on an issue not before him.
But,
Do you understand? So
but
for
the
me,
APC chieftain said that the Operation Amotekun needs an operational and conceptual modification. Or
I
else
agree
it
with
will
him.
fail.
I agree with him. I agree with him entirely.
Is that not giving a sense that the
That what?
Amotekun is bound to fail?
I don't understand. What I know is that he has advised that you need an operational platform. You need to state the basis upon which you are forming a security outfit. You just say, okay, I'm Otekun, and all miscreants are employed into the organization, and you at the end of the day, it turns out to be a terrorist organization. He is very correct to say, please, let it be known. Let the whole world know that Amotekun is a sociocultural group for the security, to have the security of the Yoruba race, the 6 states that that compose or forms or comprise that region.
How do you react, Barrister Okengwa, to what Mr. Adejumo said about the fact that Mr. Tinubu, an advocate of true federalism, but now he's at the center, he's the leader of the party that holds the reins at the federal level, but that his advocacy, he has not been very vocal about things that will ensure that true federalism takes roots in Nigeria?
Very good. Tinubu is not just a baby. As a young man, he was a governor, he was a senator, became governor of Lagos State, advocated for true federalism, given the circumstances that existed when he was governor of Lagos State.
What's different now?
The problem between him and the federal government. I'm coming.
Okay.
He was in power, but today Tinubu is not in power. Tinubu is a political leader. He's not a governor of any state. He's not a minister. He's not a chief of staff to the president. Neither is he the vice president or the president himself. He has a right to an opinion. And when he does give that opinion, I don't think he should be condemned for that. He should not be condemned for giving an opinion. And it is true that we must advise ourselves. If in all of these 36 states we come from, the South-South decide that, okay, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Delta, Edo, and Bayelsa, we form operation, whatever you call it. And then without the state governments individually going to the state houses of assembly to pass those laws, does it automatically become a law? It doesn't. And the man is advising as a leader, as a nationalist, as one who occupies a position of leadership that people are following. That look, I agree with this project, but we need to fine tune it. We need to make it look like we are not out here to, execute a particular program, or maybe the pogrom of the 60s, or whatever,
an agenda,
or an agenda that is targeting a particular tribe. Okay. No, so I think he has done the best he could. The secretary of the Yoruba Summit can have his opinion. It's his opinion.
Okay, let's hear more.
It's not a Yoruba opinion. It's his opinion.
Let's hear more of Mr. Adejumo's opinion. Yes. Mr. Adejumo, you've also listened to the views canvassed by Barrister Okengwa here in the studios about what he thinks Mr. Tinubu has done properly.
I have listened to him. There will always be shocks, but there won't be surprises anymore in this country. If somebody who is not a non-Yoruba is telling us that somebody has done more for the Yoruba, then you should know where it is coming from. If this wind is coming from an empty grave, we should know the direction and where it is going. He is wrong. It cannot determine for us who has done more for us. He does not know anything about the Yoruba. He cannot come there and start posturing if he knows so much. And when will it even happen that all that he wants to do is to look at one person in terms of what the collective are saying? And we discount the fact that all these groups that are in Yoruba land do not have a voice. And he's the one to now make a categorical statement as to who has done something for the Yoruba. Please let him take that back and not ever bring it up again. It's an insult to the Yoruba. Now coming to the issues. All that we are saying is simple. We evolved here. This is our land. This is our farm. We have a threat even to food security, not just about personal security, not just about property security, even to food security. Wherefore, in this world, in any law, common canonical Sharia, does it give anybody the right to dig a cow and graze upon somebody's farm? It has never happened until now. Even when Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu was fighting the federal government, he was not fighting on the basis of insecurity. He was fighting on the basis of the Constitution. He was fighting on the basis of federalism. The Yoruba went to the London Conference in 1953. I hope your guests will remember that we fought for true federalism. The Yoruba produced the best hospitals in the world. The kings of Saudi Arabia used to come here to get health and to get healed. And we are saying that Nigeria is not progressing because we are being cluttered with things that do not represent true federalism. We want to be able to take care of our own. The government, only government, local, state, federal, must have security as its number one item on the list of the things it was elected to do. Has government helped? Has government given us security? Has government given us opportunity? Has government given us liberty? Has government given us equity? Has government given us enough to even say we want to go out of our homes? And we are saying let us have the critical minimum bill reduced level of security. And we are here talking about what somebody has said or what somebody has not said regarding security. Who does that? In countries that know exactly what to do, they will start from the county level. They will have a sheriff. They will go to the state level. They will have the NYPD, LAPD. They will go to the federal. They will have the FBI and the rest of them. Here we are talking about Amotekun, and we are reducing it to what somebody said. Are we serious? People are being killed every day. Just yesterday, we have reports of a pregnant woman that was killed. In Ekiti, about 4 people were killed. In Kogi, and we know those who are doing it. Why are we hiding? The headsmen are doing it. They've been called the fourth deadliest terrorist organization in the world. And what are we doing? Genuflecting? What are we doing? Trying to be politically correct?
Mr. Dejumo, maybe some of the questions you've posed, let's pose them to Mr. Barrister Okengwa in the studio. So Barrister Okengwa.
Well, still on.
Go
well, I don't know, but I know we have security challenges in this country. I stated much earlier in my opening remarks that even in my community, we have serious security challenges. But however, if we are to dissect the statements of or the reaction of the APC leader, it's just its own reaction. I'm happy he talked about the security architecture starting from the county level to the local government level or to the state level and then to the national level. Have we done that? Even in forming this Amotekun, was that taken into consideration? Now, if an initiative had been brought up, my belief or my take is that we should look at it. The Yorubas are not just the only persons who are affected by this problem. The problem is nationwide. He has stated. He mentioned Kogi. Is Kogi in Yoruba land? No. In my state, Cross River, it's not Yoruba land. I'm sure even in your states, we have had this herdsmen crisis all over the place. Nobody is saying the Fulani herdsmen, the dangerous Fulani herdsmen, that all of us, even my daughter in the house, will understand what that means. Nobody is trying to cover up anything. And I don't think that you will expect Bola Tinubu to come and say, okay, Amotekun is set up to deal with the Fulani herdsmen. That wouldn't sound plausible. Even to you, it won't sound plausible. But what he's saying is that let them refine the process so that they can handle the issue of security beyond politics. Security is not a political issue.
But the point about it not being political is what the proponents of Amotekun have said.
Who are the proponents? The governors are the proponents.
And other
the governors are the ones who set up the organization. Agree that the cultural groups, the ethnic militias or whatever you have, will always prevail on their elected representatives to do something to help the communities.
Do you know?
However, the initiative of Amotekun, as we are told, was an initiative of the governors of the Southwest region. And there's an APC governors, there are PDP governors
There's
in that
one
region.
PDP
Yeah,
governor.
it's a governor. Even if he's half a governor, it's a governor. The man is a governor. And the meeting held in Ibadan, where the initiative was, mooted and agreed upon.
All right, let me stay with you on this question before we take it over to Mr. Adejumo.
Yes.
Some people say perhaps the issue, the prominent issue about Amotekun has to do with the regional feel. And you have consistently talked about the security challenges confronting several states in the nation. You made mention of the state which you are from.
Yes.
Let me now give you a clear instance. Yesterday, there were reports from Benue State, for instance, where the governor of Benue State said there is an influx of killer herdsmen into farmlands.
Yes.
And still yesterday, we also saw the northern governors, having an emergency security meeting on community policing. When you look at all these issues being raised now, the talks on security, does that not also give indication to what many people view as a vote of no confidence on President Muhammadu Buhari's ability to secure Nigerians?
I think it's a serious issue. It's not just about the politicians talking, because there are some voiceless Nigerians who have not really, whose voice are not heard, or voices are not heard. Now, on the issue of whether or not the security situation in the country is a vote of no confidence, I agree with you completely that we need to tackle. I wouldn't know about the vote of no confidence, but I know the president has to sit down and tackle the issue of security. He has to sit down and tackle the issue of security. And I repeat, he has to do that. I will not go into the issue of vote of no confidence, because security as it is also the problem of some of these governors. They recruit people for the elections. They arm them with arms and ammunition to fight their opponents, whether PDP or APC. At the end of the day, when they win their positions in government, they are not able to take care of these persons. I did several matters where arms and ammunition were imported from Turkey in 2018, and then about 900 and something pieces of what they call pump action were seized at the Mile 2 in Lagos. Not people, they were cleared. And a lady custom officer was my client, and I asked her, "Are you saying you never knew what was in that container?" And then where does she come from? She's not necessarily a Fulani. I know where she comes from. And then the truth about it is that, I'm coming. The truth about it is that we all have a duty in this country to work for the safety and security of our people in our individual ways.
All right, let's take it back to Mr. Adejumo, who is still with us over phone from Lagos. You had the submission of the barrister here in the studio as regards the security across the nation and the call for regional outfits to secure lives and property in individual states, and perhaps what people also tag as the vote of no confidence on President Muhammadu Buhari's ability to govern or secure Nigerians.
Okay. My reaction is this. And it is never going to be about a context. The government that we have, the government of Major General Muhammadu Buhari, panders to these people. He prevaricates to these people. He pays these people, and he protects them. I will say it again.
What people do you mean? What people do you mean, Mr. Adejumo?
He prevaricates and he pays them.
What people do you mean, Mr. Adejumo? Sorry, who are you referring to?
We have a governor in Kaduna who said on national television that he paid these people so that he will not be killing.
But that does not equate to the president.
Is that the president saying that?
Who took a picture with one of these terrorists with a gun strapped across his chest and had bullets strapped across his chest. We have a problem with the government not dealing with insecurity. We have had the ISBA, they have cops, and ISBA police arrested the normal police. We have seen the vigilante or State armed, they carry arms. The SSD of Adamawa State even said it is God-given right to the Fulani to carry guns. I am not just saying this, these are facts. Now, you cannot now come to the Yoruba, who have only tried to have some kind of security through gathering of intelligence and all that, and then descend on us. When you see a whole governor with bandits, with terrorists, with Fulani experts carrying guns freely, and then make it a case against the Yoruba, that is even against God.
Let's take it back to what. Let's take it back, Mr. Adejumo. Let's take it back to what Mr. Tinubu said. Mr. Tinubu said, "Can I come in here?"
When they were setting up,
Mr. Adejumo, can I come in? Mr. Tinubu said probably the modalities should have been made better and more open for people to know what it's all about. What does it entail? How many are you recruiting, the deployments and all that? That was what Mr. Tinubu said in that letter.
When they were recruiting their people in Gisba, in Kano, did they tell us when they were recruiting their people in Bono? Did they tell us, did they call any Yoruba man to Katsina? Did they call any Yoruba man to Katsina, to Bono, to Sokoto, to Kano? Did they call any Yoruba man when they were setting up their own?
For better understanding, Mr. Adejumo.
Why is it that it is now that we are having hours that people are jittery? And again, when you build your house and you set up the perimeters, you make your walls high, you set up your gate, and somebody is telling you that why is your gate so high, why is your wall so high, know that that person is the thief that wants to come to your house and harm you. All we are trying to do is have a semblance of some kind of security. And if anyone is being paid a political contract to come and start to make something out of nothing, then let them know that they have failed. Because never in the history of the Yoruba have we had this collective resolve to protect ourselves. Because this is an existential threat to 60 million people. We're not just going to roll over and die. Let anybody say anything. Amateco has come to stay. It's an idea. It has germinated.
Mr. Adejumo.
Nobody can stop this.
Mr. Adejumo, for better understanding.
Whoever set up the security situation in the north for the northerners for themselves should not bother about what we are doing here.
All right, sorry to interject, but for better understanding, we understand that the Yoruba people need some semblance of security at this point. But when you try to compare it with what we have in the Northwest, some would say that's a far cry, because as regards the Hishbab, which you of course talked about, it's been backed by law. But in the instance of our Moteco, there is no law backing it.
I would say, no, those who say there is no law are mistaken. Those who say there is no law are mistaken, and I will explain. How many laws do you want to bring out of an insecurity kind of situation? We have the forest guard laws that allows people employed by the state in each of these states to be fully armed to guard the forest. That is enough law. If you are talking about law, that is enough law. That law is still there. Now let me take you back to 1969. There is a judgment in Yoruba land against open grazing, and it has banned it. And there are even penalties. Why are people not talking about the law? They will only come out to say something about the law when they think there is a crack. But there is no crack. The states have come out to have a program that each state has put together, personnel, people, tasks, and they if people are looking for any law, all I will say is let them follow the existing laws. The existing laws are very clear. The forest guard law gives the right to every state to protect its own forest base, its own farmland, and if we have a Moteco that can take care of these things, then it is easy. And again, if anybody is not even clear about what we are saying, let them go to court. We'll meet them there.
Okay, Mr. Adejumo, we're coming back to the studio. Barrister Okangbe, you heard the viewpoint he has raised there. Essentially, the one that talks about the law. Yes. You are aware of some of these pieces of legislation.
Yes. He's talking about the forest guard law. And then he mentioned the judgment of 1969, Western State. There was Western State under Mobolaji Johnson, who was the governor then, the Brigadier General who died
of Lagos.
Lagos.
Adenike Adebayo was
the governor of
Western
Western State. Before the states were now divided in later 67. It couldn't have been 69 because that judgment couldn't have applied to the entire Western region because by 69 we had the 12 state structures. The Oyo State, Lagos State.
No, there was still Western State.
No, Western State different from Lagos State.
Lagos State and Western State as at 69.
That's what I'm saying. No, 67.
It was
67.
It was in 76 Oyo, Ogun, and all
that's what I'm
that
saying. I know that there was Western State and there was Lagos State. So there was nothing like Western Nigeria then.
Yes,
there was Western State. Because Western Nigeria should ordinarily include Lagos. Lagos was a state created by Gowon in 1967.
Correct.
Yes. So what the point I'm trying to make is that, yes, we are aware of that judgment. That judgment is there. The open grazing, there are judgments all over the place, not just in the West. Open grazing, even in Benue State, of course, is a law now. And the initiative, started by Benue State was commendable when they said, no, a state law. And we believe that since we have 36 states now, the governors, very enlightened personalities, they have a duty to individually, because the name Amatekun now as a security outfit was not known to law in 69. Of course, if you say now the judgment in 1969, banish open grazing in Yoruba land or in the western states of Nigeria then, what about today where we have 6 of those states? We have 6 states in the West, and they have their individual state laws. Now, we don't need to be emotional about this thing. It is true, we are all adults. I have children. I expect that when I die tomorrow, my children should be happy in their country. We know we have a challenge. They are killer herdsmen. That is correct.
But
sorry, I'm coming, please.
To herdsmen.
Sorry?
It seems we've narrowed the conversation.
That is what he just did. He even had to mention.
You have also narrowed it.
No, I'm not narrowing it. I said they are. But before now, I've even told you that we have cultism in the South. You know the challenges. Where you come from, I don't know where you come from. But where I come from, it's not the headmen that are the challenge. We have cultists within the community. And that's why we need this community policing. Because if we recruit by a process that can bring out the best of minds within the community to police the area, that's a commendable gesture.
Is that not the same concept with Amotekun?
It is the same concept, but nobody is saying
so
Amotekun is bad. Nobody have said so. Have I said Amotekun is bad? I've not said so. The young man is talking about Tinubu and what he said, and I'm saying that Tinubu has a right to his opinion.
Well, you have just
he also
said
has
that
a right to his own opinion, but he shouldn't condemn and say Tinubu is trying to do some kind of political arrangement.
Let me take you by your own words.
Because he's a leader. He wants to look at the issues and say, okay, of course, the Yoruba land is a place where all manner of persons go to Lagos every now and then.
Mr. Campbell, like let me take you by your own words. You have just said that some Nigerians are being emotional about the operation of Amotekun. And also you have said that Amotekun is not bad. It's also a way of,
It's a wonderful idea.
A wonderful idea.
Yeah.
So why then are a lot of people kicking against it? Who is afraid of Amotekun?
I don't know those who are kicking against it. You want to talk about the Attorney General of the Federation? You want to talk about the Attorney General who has spoken for the government. A lot of other personalities. I read Femi Okunu's contribution yesterday. He said, everybody is entitled to his opinion. And at the end of the day, you aggregate the opinion. Those who are not comfortable with the Amotekun concept can go to court, or the government itself can go to court for a definition of what security is. But I think the governors of the Southwest did a good thing. But they should go further to institutionalize the process by way of passing state laws that will support the project. But without that, wanting to rely on a judgment in 1969 cannot fly. Because this is not 1969. 1969 to date when my mother died is more than 50 years now.
Some people, let me bring you back to what I earlier talked about, which of course borders on the regional feeling it's having. Yes. Some say rather than have that regional feel, it should be a state's
That is the point I was trying to make. It's like you didn't get my point.
No,
I agree.
I'm actually headed somewhere.
Okay.
You know, it should have that. It should be it should be
A state-driven
a
project.
state-driven project.
Yes.
Yes. But in this instance, we understand that for a while now, the Development Agency of Western Nigeria have been kicking or calling for restructuring.
Yes.
So, considering what is before us right now, do you think it's actually a way of restructuring the nation?
Okay, so that is where you see some reactions, like you said, maybe the northern reaction. I watch the Yoruba, the what they call the Mayati Allah Secretary General already on your program here. His reaction, how he had some serious altercation with the Yoruba guys in the southwest. I think actually some people read political motives that is a way of smuggling restructuring into into the Nigerian social life, social political life. But however, I don't think it's just much more than that. It's not about restructuring. It's about the security. In fact, the secretary of the Yoruba Summit Group is correct to say the people have a right to defend themselves. I agree with that. But beyond that, you still need Yorubas within the Yoruba race to support the initiative. You still need to, as a secretary of that umbrella group, you shouldn't be partisan to criticize a non-Yoruba leader who is also a leader in his own right.
Okay, let's go to
you shouldn't criticize. You should rather commend him and say, please, Mr. Tinubu, can you be more explicit as to what you mean?
Okay,
not to rightly condemn him and make it look as if it was a political statement issued out yesterday.
Mogajade Jumo is still on the line. Sir, you heard what Barrister just said, and I'll also add something to that. Mr. Tinubu said, look, at state governors, chat up with the Attorney General of the Federation so that all the halu-balu and all the hue and cry can be resolved. He proposed a political solution. Do you like that suggestion he has made?
My first and foremost, let me say it again, reiterate it. The gentleman you have there does not have the right to tell.
It's not about right. It's not about right. I have a duty to my country. It's not about right.
Back to your question. I just want you to know he does not have the right to tell me what to say. He has absolutely no local standard. But let me come down to what you said about this Chief Tinubu's advice to the governors. Again, in year 2000, when the Fulani were killing Yoruba at Tokyo, Major General Buhari did not even call on anyone to say, let us dialogue. He came down and accused the governor of Oyo State, then Lamadechino, and said, why are your people killing my people? He did that for his own people. General Buhari did that for his own people. He started my people against your people in year 2000, when even it was his own people killing our people in the people. He came down and said to Governor Lang, why are your people killing my people? I will expect anyone not to look at the political side of it or his own ambition or whatever he might gain politically and just come out and say the truth. I expect Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu to come out and say, this is not right for a member of a terrorist organization called the Yetiala to look down on the Yoruba and say to the Yoruba that we are primitive in our politics.
Can we take the conversation? Sorry, Mogaji Adejumo.
Excuse me, please. We need to talk today.
No. We need to say and stick to
all that we need to do is to make this Amotekun to not only become what we all have to fight for, but we don't have to genuflect for it. By asking that we should begin to dialogue, I say it again. Did they dialogue with us when they were starting this?
But Barrister Mogaji, you've made some points here, but I want to... Sorry, sir, can I comment, sir?
How can you ask elected governors, elected representatives of the people, chief executive officers of the state, chief security officers of the state to meet with an appointee, the minister, and to dialogue with the minister? So governors should leave their state and go to Abuja and converge in the office of Malami.
He said it could be, Mr. Tinubu said it could be either ways. But let me take you up on this. Mogaji Adejumo, let me take you up on this. In all you have said, you have touched on one aspect of the criminality that is said to be a major problem in Yoruba land. You touched definitely, repeatedly on the killer headsmen. But there are other forms of criminality plaguing Yoruba land. You didn't touch on that.
The Nigerian people didn't talk on that too. The Nigerian said that the Yoruba wants to gang up against the rest. That they shouldn't even be allowed to rule. It will jeopardize their 2023 chances. When you listen to people like that, begin to form your own opinion. They are exactly the insecurity of thieves or insecurity.
Mogaji Adejumo.
Stabilize the Yoruba. Is to castigate the Yoruba. Is to particularly box us into a corner. They are afraid.
All right.
They are not afraid.
We understand the feeling.
They are not even conscious of any other thing. It is all about the Yoruba.
All right.
If you don't know that, then I'll be very surprised.
All right, sorry to interrupt you now, Mogaji Adejumo, sorry to interrupt you, but let me take you back, refer you back to one of the lines in the statement of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He said that Amoteku should have been fashioned to the peculiarities of each state rather than having a regional structure. Do you not take that as a very serious statement, considering the national unity that many Nigerians are working so hard to secure at this moment?
I can assure you of one thing. That is a very misplaced statement.
How do you mean?
Or it is a very misplaced statement from him. If Oyo should drive the men perpetrating crimes, the terrorists killing our people, if Oyo should drive those people away from their state, and they're going to another state, and they're going to either Ogun or Osun. So if Osun now says, okay, I have collected all the miscreants, all the terrorists from you, and then I'm going to drive them, won't they drive them to Ondo? In which case, we have a situation that affects the zones. In some kind of formation, we have 6 zones. In that same 6 zones, we have in the southwest the Dawn Commission that takes care of the zones. We have in the southwest a group of companies. We've always had our own. How do you now want to separate economy from security? If the security of the zone is being taken care of by Oodua Group and Dawn, you now want to separate security and take security to the state level. How is that done? Is there some sense in that kind of thing?
But having a regional...
Without security, there cannot be economy.
But having a regional security structure...
For the zone, then we cannot have the economic development that we then say for the zone. Economy and security, they both have.
We understand that economy and security work hand in hand, but having a regional security structure in a region, does that not give you a sense of what maybe the future? Because, just a minute, let me land on my point.
And you want to separate our economy from our security?
All right, but my question now is, should Amoteku be allowed to, to operate in the southwest region, for instance? Do you not see places, the Middle Belt region, the south, the southeast, and even the northern region coming up with such or similar structure? And where does that leave us as a nation?
As a nation, yes.
That is the true. That is the true meaning. That is the true meaning of restructuring. Is the true meaning of federalism.
But at this moment, Nigerian is not.
Let each zone organize its own. It is always going to be beauty of a democracy when we have this sort of things happening in every zone. Have we ever opposed anyone having it in Zamfara or having it in even yesterday? All the governors of the Middle Belt, they said that last year that they are coming together to form their own. the Igbo. They want to have their own operation of Ogunike. Let every zone protect its own. Who is against that? In fact, we will be the very first people to help them, to champion it, and we will not oppose it.
Okay, let's come back to the studio. Barrister Dejuma, we need to talk to the other guests here with us. Barrister Okangbe, there's no way we will allow you to go without asking you this question, because you've looked at what Mr. Tinubu said. You said he's a statesman, and his position is to keep the peace. But some point to the fact that his eyes are just set on securing the nomination of the APC to contest the 2023 presidency, and that he's trying to play a card. That's what is political.
No. Those are things that, of course. But before I react to that question or answer your question, I want to still say that I want to respond to my brother in Lagos, my colleague in Lagos, and to say I understand where he's coming from as a scribe of a social cultural organization. I understand where
social political,
social cultural, social political, not even social cultural. Now I understand where he comes from, where he taught her. Even the questions my sister was asking. Okay, you commit an offense in Oyo State. He didn't talk about the kidnapping. He didn't talk about the murder cases that are going on here and there. It's not all of those offenses that are committed by a particular branded group or whatever. Now, if you commit an offense in Lagos State or Oyo State and rush to Ondo State, which law will determine the prosecution of that offense? Is it an Amatekun law as passed by a Western Regional Assembly? Do we have an assembly of Western Region? Do we have an assembly that constitutes all the members of the House of Assembly of the 6 states? We don't. That is just a reality on ground. I mean, it's just a reality on ground that each state will need to have its own law. Then they can work under the umbrella of the Yoruba, the sub-regional context. But each state must have its own law to protect its own territory. And that's also federalism. Federalism does not mean that it must be a bogus Yoruba nation or a bogus Igbo nation or a bogus South. Where I come from now, I don't know how many nations will be created from there, because we have not less than 200-300 tribes within the South. Or in Cross River State alone, we have about 50 or 60 tribes. So how are we going to form our country or our nation? So that's just a problem. And I expect an organization of that sort to look at the nuances or what the modus operandi of what they call Amatekun will be. And to that extent, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is speaking as a Yoruba leader. Now, to the issue of whether he wants to run for the presidency of the country or not, he says, right, if you want to run, it's your right. There are about 91 political parties or so.
What the notion is, he's doing that at the expense of his own people.
No, he has not shown anything for you to draw that conclusion.
No, I said accusations.
Those accusations are baseless. They are baseless. People accuse people anyhow. People say all sorts of things. Does that make them truth? Does that show the foundation of any realism in what they are saying? People can accuse anyone. If Bola Tinubu wants to be the president of Nigeria, he has every right. He's qualified. He has been a senator. He has been a governor. He has a right to aspire. But to say he should not aspire, is that not part of the problem we are talking about? He has a right to aspire.
All right, let's go back to Lagos, and I have this question for Mogaji Adejumo. You have touched so much on, the regional outfit at Motekun, but this question is certainly for you. You are one of the leaders of an umbrella body, in the Yoruba land, the Yoruba Summit Group, but as regards this, the issue of Amoteku and, the whole hues and cries and concerns of perhaps what many people will tag as a forceful restructuring project by Yoruba people. How will this leave us as a country without due diligence to the center? Do you not think that the Yoruba people are going against the constitution of the country?
My answer to that is simple. Nobody should be afraid unless you are guilty. If you are accusing me of something which of course I have not in any way shown, it simply means that your conscience is speaking at you. And somebody said conscience is an open wound. It's only the truth that can heal it. We are only responding to the issue of insecurity. Would rather we allow ourselves to be killed every day? What we are doing is not anything different from what has been provided for in the Constitution. We have a right to protect ourselves. We have a right to gather information. We know even where some of these people are in the bush, the cells. About 1,004 cells have been discovered. Do you want us to simply just roll over and die? I went to Akoko. It is a remote part of Ondo State. And about 5 towns there, RGD, Kare, and the rest. Right there in a particular place with a first-class Oba, this Fulani herdsman came, they abducted him, took his wife, took his children, went away. We were called to go there. We went there looking for a police station. We met a police post. In that police post, only 2 policemen to help police a community of over 10,000 people. And people are questioning, what is the rationale behind Amotekun? If the federal government is providing 2 policemen in Akoko and they can take our Oba, I wonder the kind of mindset of anyone that will say we should not have Amotekun that is meant to help. Even the police inspector general said they have been able to solve many crimes through the OPC. He said that. I was at a meeting when he sent representatives to meet the Ariel Okakampo. I was there. And the idea of Amotekun is to complement the police. Have we ever said it is something else? Have we ever defined it any other way? For those who, for any reason, except the truth, those who will pander to persons, pander to government, and do a paid job, who come and be telling you stories that are not. The governors that have put up these things, they are knowledgeable people. Dr. Fayemi is a holder of a PhD in political science. Governor of Ondo was a former chairman of the NBA, an accomplished man. And you will think that those 2 people with the others, Engineer Sheyi Makinde, Prince Dapo Abiodun, Governor Sanwo-Olu, will sit down with Oyetola and do something that will be inimical to the health and wealth of Nigeria. Where are people coming from? Throwing all manners of inanity and making this to be about people.
A fine place to end the conversation.
Only those who are afraid are the guilty ones.
Okay, Mr. Mogaji Boyega, thank you very much. The Secretary General of the Yoruba Summit Group. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We have to wrap up the program now.
Yes.
So, Barrister Victor Kangbe, a lawyer, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will take a short break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about development, the economy, and how nations should make progress. We're zeroing in on Nigeria.
City Hawks. Let's go, guys.
Babe.
Yeah.
Would you please turn on your hotspot?
Okay, there you go. My lady. Play this ball. Hey, hold this guy down.
Password, please.
0808.
Baby girl, you are 1 in a million.
Babe.
Yeah.
You have a message.
From what? To maybe. Read it out now. Read it out to my ears.
Free your mind with Airtel Smart Talk and enjoy calls to all networks at a flat rate of 11 kobo per second. Dial *315# to join.
Banger! Can I have your phone, man?
Airtel, the smartphone network.
All right, remember the Vision 2020, which was, of course, launched in 2009. Well, 2020 is already here, and a lot of questions are being asked as to whether or not Nigeria has closed in on some of the targets set as at 2009, and what happens to other development plans of the country. And of course, we will be escalating these issues, what the current administration has done to meet the target of economic recovery and growth plan, and what factors should be considered in fashioning out another development plan. We have joining us at this moment an economist, Billy Gillis-Harry. He is the president of the Coalition of South-South Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. He will be talking to us via telephone from Abuja. And of course, we also have joining us another economist who will be joining us via phone also from Bauchi State. He is Ishaya Buba Bajama. We will be talking to them as regards these issues.
Okay, so let's launch into that conversation. Let's start with the economist in Bauchi, Ishaya Buba Bajama. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, let's go down memory lane a little. The first development plan in the First Republic, 1962 to 68, but of course that republic was truncated with the military coup. So all the plans set out by our founding fathers, they couldn't really achieve that. But when Gowon came into office, by 1970, he started with the Second National Development Plan, 1970 to 74. So much was done. Roads were built, infrastructure. There was even a time it was said that we had so much money, we didn't know how to spend them. He left office, 75, but before then he had a third National Development Plan, 75 to 1980. And the Second Republic kicked off with Shagari and Co. So many plans. Vision 2020, launched by, like Chiko Dinaka said, the Yaradua administration. Now, here we are, 2020. Have we made progress with these various development plans?
Hello?
Yes, I said, have we made progress with all these development plans, Mr. Buba?
Yeah. We can't have a blanket statement as to whether we have made development or not. Some development has been made, but it's not as much as we would have had. From the little I know about development plans and visions and what have you, there are key processes that are usually overlooked. First is the consultative process of the emergence of whatever development plan or vision you have. How much broad consultation have been made? How much do agencies, individuals and organizations and communities ownership has been really searched and handed over to? So the process of the emergence of these plans, which a lot of times when you look at history, is either you see it as an academic exercise when an academician has written a book and then he has a favor from anybody in government, especially the executive side. Over time, you either see it as an executive executive product, which a government agency or chief executive at the presidential level, at the governorship level, they come up with this. And you found that there is mostly a fault in the process of actually legislating on these policies, and the legislation also, how much do the legislators also depend on the feeling of the people and the opinion of the people on coming up with these policies. So, and even when you have a sound process of emerging the policy, one of the critical things we also find is that what is the implementation structure? And a lot of this, you find it becomes like a document different from budget, different from medium development plan, different from long-term development plan. A lot of these documents are not connecting to the overall daily activities of government, annual activities of government, and multi-year activities of government. You find the document will be resting somewhere and government activities is somewhere. So the basic thing is that we need to challenge our planning processes. How much does ownership come in? Ownership of the agencies, all agencies that are affected, ownership of the citizens, and how much does the citizens' voice get respected in the process of policy planning.
Okay, let me take you.
Look at on the international media. People who are going to be elected on the Senate in the U.S. are afraid of citizens' opinion on how they approach the impeachment. How much do our legislators respect the opinion of citizens when they are coming up with the policies? So for me, the critical elements that usually get these documents resting and dusting there while governance goes on separately is the fact that we don't see governance holistically, bringing in the role of the various arms of government and the various levels of government. We are in a hurry to launch a regime, and most of these documents become regiminal documents, regiminal visions, rather than the vision of the country. Even the Constitution has suffered the same thing.
All right,
because there was no broad consultation. Some few people sit in the room. They have the voice of the ears of the government of the day. They come up with something and it gets endorsed without consultation.
All right, Mr. Bud.
The consultation in the process of coming up with these policies and the administrative infrastructure of the implementation of this, how much do they get translated into our day-to-day affairs of governance?
All right, Mr. Bajema, you have enumerated several points, and between
Hello?
the First Republic, can you hear us? Between the First
Hello?
Republic and now, there has been several
Hello,
developments. Of course, we are still with you. Can you hear us? All right, we may have to fix that, but let's bring the conversation now to... Can you hear us now?
Okay, let's bring in our second panelist, virtual panelist, Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry, President of the Coalition of South-South Chambers of Commerce. He's also on the telephone. Mr. Gillis-Harris, development plans. Let's narrow down our conversation to the Vision 2020. 11 years ago, launched by the Yar'Adua administration, parameters set to achieve those goals. Of course, even if President Yar'Adua had gotten 2 terms in office, he would have ended by 2015. But he set that goal, saying, look, we can achieve so-and-so within 10 years. Different layers set up to achieve that. Stakeholders meetings, the Council on Vision 2020, and the different layers. Another administration came in the same party, PDP, till 2015, and a separate party to go by 2015. Vision 2020, in your own estimation, how would you appraise whether the targets set out have been met?
Well, first of all, let us go back to the spirit of the project. Vision 2020 was focused on ensuring that Nigeria is among the top 20 economies of the world.
Right.
Very, very ambitious and very laudable goal. But as usual, if you set goals, you must also make deliberate plans to ensure that we achieve it. I would not say that is what Nigeria has done. At every point, we've had reason to play more politics than grow the economy. The economy was the focus. In my mind, I am very convinced that once the Nigerian economy grows, our polity will be stable. Most of the situation where we are today with security would have been abated, because with a very vibrant and robust economy, as was encapsulated in that document, $900 million GDP, $4,000 per capita income, and minimum, were goals that could have easily placed Nigeria among the best in the world. Don't forget that during the Okonjo-Iweala era, somehow we did some kind of economic abracadabra that brought us to be the biggest economy in Africa.
You mean mean her second coming as a minister of finance?
Yes.
Okay.
So in today's reality, can we say that assumption or that projection was anything that should have made Nigeria proud? In my opinion, Vision 2020 was just a complete failure. The focal points were not even addressed. What are we doing today? Don't forget that a few months ago, the Minister of Finance had already announced the possibility of pushing Vision 2020 to 2030. So that again tells us that our method of computing the inputs to make that vision work are not, properly deciphered. And this is where we get it wrong in Nigeria. We are not short of plans, but we are very short of deliberate decisions and plans to achieve the set goals. Look at our infrastructure today. Look at, as of today, we are talking of minimum income of 30,000 naira. 30,000 naira is less than $100 for any average family that is having a minimum of 3 people with a breadwinner. How do you look at how can we evaluate, that kind of situation? So I think the vision is good, the project idea, the synopsis, they are very fine, but we need to get back to not just to the drawing table, we need to get back and look at the very, very basic Spartan realities that can grow our economy. And this is where we need to pay attention.
All right.
Because,
looking at the basics now, you have said that Vision 2020 is a complete failure. But then the current administration, upon coming to office, came up with the ERGP, that is the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. Several years now down the line since this administration came to power, do you think that their attempts to achieve some of the set goals the APC administration has also set for the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of this nation, Nigeria? And are there not signs that the ERGP may also toe the same line as the Vision 2020?
Well, to be honest to you, I believe in the ERGP because I saw it as running to the rescue of the Vision 2020 plan in another capsule. But again, whatever we have set out to do as a project, the most critical is not to play politics with it. Because after you've been in office for a maximum of 8 years, you will still get back into the Nigerian space. You will get back into the market forces that will determine how Nigeria works. So I think this is the time for us to make, very spirited effort to make the ERGP, projections to work. Because at the end of the day, that plan was all going to be dovetailed into some of the major, areas of the Vision 2020. But when the Minister of Finance came up with the idea of moving into Vision 2030, then I started thinking myself that, hey, wait a minute, we're missing something. And don't forget that there were a lot of stakeholders that were invited into this, but right after the first few months of the spirited effort, nobody called any meetings. The Chamber of Commerce especially was not invited, was not part of it. So I will assume that a lot of the early participants were also not being called to look at, to review, to make inputs, to do milestones on how we can be able to achieve the set goals.
All right.
So I think that the ERGP plan, as you see, is geared to ensuring that there is no infrastructural deficit. The ease of doing business is high. Nigeria's economy is still going to, be focused within that first 20 in the world. So I think the spin doctors of that project, which was anchored in the Vice President's office, should, get back what has been done and ensure that the tenets of those, lofty ideas are projected and will succeed. We still have time. This is January. By December, we should be able to see what we have done.
All right, going by your submission, it's obvious from your submission that the ELGP plan came to rescue Vision 2020. You talked about the infrastructure deficit. You talked about the growth plan of this current administration, ease of doing business. But there are some indices. Some people say for a nation to grow, the economy of a nation to grow, there are some pocket issues that needs to be put in place. For instance, power. In the last few months, we have had reports of collapse of the national grid. Power remains a very vital issue in the Nigerian economy. And apart from power, we also have issues bordering on inflation rates. We have an all-time high inflation figure of 11.9% and an investment flow that dropped to $460 million. With all this quite negative indices, do you think the ELGP will fulfill its mandates?
Well, in my opinion, the most important criteria to ensure that the economy of even your family grows is good planning. Good planning. Now, if our plans for the ELGP are carried to the letter, and the spirit of that design is indeed followed through, Nigeria can turn around, because as it is today, almost everything that should make this country to grow is not going to be borrowed from the sky. We already have living examples on how we can plug and play. So, yes, power is so critical, and it seems to me like successive governments in Nigeria are only just paying lip service to the issue of power, because this is where small businesses can look at how to grow, different capacities that will add to the GDP. So I think that the most critical for the managers of the ELGP plan should be to go back. This is just January, and I feel that 11 months could make a difference.
Okay.
If we did put a stringent attempt to look at the tenets of the plan, bring the critical, elements such as sincerity of purpose.
Okay.
Because we are not lacking intellectual. Nigeria is not lacking in intellectual capacity.
Okay.
We are also not lacking in several positive values that should make Nigeria grow. I think what is happening with us is we are not looking at the long-term effects of our actions and decisions.
Okay, Mr. Billy Harris, just hold the line.
Let me say something. Now, today, almost everything we are doing, we are running to the Chinese. Almost everything, our railways, our ports, our airports, the Chinese are coming in Chinese.
Maybe the Chinese have a solution to our infrastructural deficit. Let's take the conversation to Bauchi, where Mr. Ishaya Buba Bajama is also on the line. Thank you, Mr. Billy Harris. Let's just wrap up the conversation with the other fellow economist in Bauchi. Mr. Bajama, the ELGP, in not too many words, let's just quickly try and wrap up. Do you see the ELGP achieving the targets set for it?
To some extent, it might achieve something. Just like I was trying to lay out, I don't know how much the voice was over there. The major challenge with a lot of these initiatives is that a lot of it is over-branded by the regime and not building on where we are coming from and where we are going. The three dimensions of the initiative. When they want to achieve it just to get credit for the regime to have achieved this without recognizing that it's building on what others have done and it's handing over to others. That's why even the power sector and all the sectors we have been discussing, because a lot of times some of these initiatives are over-branded by a regime or over-protected by a particular ministry or agency that manages this or the system that manages it, the grammar will always blow it well. But when it comes to the coordination with other agencies and to build up, to go forward, is the biggest challenge before them, before the implementers of this program. And how much has that been built into the legislative process and the plan, year after year plan, so that a momentum is growing? So for me, those are some of the critical elements. And the connection with the citizenry. What is the infrastructure for connecting with the real citizens, both as economic citizens in terms of entities, registered companies, as well as individuals working on their farm, working on their shop, and how much are these really bringing people together to see, to envision together as a nation? Can we aspire that we'll get there together? And is there a place for everybody after the implementation of this program? In what ways are we all going to improve?
Questions,
it is those things
questions,
that bring commitment by agencies,
questions.
commitment by individuals, commitment by citizens, in such a way that we aspire together.
Questions. Mr. Ishaya Buba Bajama, an economist, giving us his perspectives on the Vision 2020 and it's already 2020 and what the ERGP of the current administration can achieve and what it should achieve. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us from Bauchi. Thank you very much. So that's Kakaki for Thursday. My name is Shola Jayesimi.
And I'm Chikodnaka Easy. Thank you very much for being a part of this show.